Greetings Lego fans! It's another hot day in Montreal, so I'm going to be taking this build out to my balcony. And for today's release, from the Lego Movie 2, I bring you the Rexcelsior. This is kit number 70839, has 1,826 pieces, and I'm thinking this is going to be a fun kit because, well, first, the ship is shaped like a giant fist, so that's kind of cool. We also have the spring-loaded blaster. We've seen a lot of other Lego kits, but here it's configured into a rapid-fire 6-shooter configuration, so that should just be fun. And we've also got 5 of the miniature dinosaurs in here, which I just simply want to add to my collection because I like them. So, let's get this thing unboxed so I can have a look at all that, and then we can get this build underway. As it has been with other sets from the Lego movies, one of the things that I really appreciate about this set is that it seems straight out of a child's imagination. To make a spaceship that's essentially an extension of your arm, in the shape of a giant Hulk-sized fist, just seems like something my 6-year-old self would have thought up very easily, whereas my present-day self, I'm not so sure. And when I say giant, I mean this in 2 ways. Not only is this Lego kit physically large, but this is actually not done to the scale I thought it was. This is not to minifigure scale, this is to nano-figure scale. While the main feature of this kit is clear, the 6-shooter, we're going to get to that in a little bit, because first, there's a bunch of panels to open up so we can explore what's behind them. Starting over by the thumb, the obvious first thing to open is this tiny little garage door, which, when we open it, we find in here Emmett's little ship, the one he used to escape Earth in pursuit of Lucy. Just to the left of that, there's this little panel which opens up, revealing the workout room. Down below, there's a pair of large speakers, because as we know, Rex loves to blast his music really loudly. And just above that, we see some free weights, a yoga ball, and off on the wall, a rock climbing wall. Coming around to the other side of the fist, we find another one of these little garage doors, and opening this one up, we find one of the Rexcelsior support craft. Without the thumb in the way, on this side, the entire side opens up. The top level is all loaded up with all kinds of little support craft, which we'll have a closer look at a little bit later. Above the one on the far left, there's a little mechanical arm, presumably to move these little ships around inside the Rexcelsior. Just below that, I'm not too sure what's going on here, but it looks like some kind of large tactile display, flanked by, again, some very large speakers. And just to the right of that, we have the entertainment zone, where we have this tiny little pool table, and I'm pretty sure all these little things in the back are supposed to be arcade machines. Moving back to the wrist of the ship, we again have some large panels that open up, this time revealing the main command center. Looking around the four corners of this room, and right through to the center, we have a variety of consoles that would be manned by the dinosaurs. Yes, the raptors. Again, I gotta say, 6-year-old me would have had a much easier time coming up with this than present-day me. In the center of all this, we have the sphere, which I think is worth mentioning because it's made up of two rather unusual pieces. First, we have a transparent blue piece, the same size as a minifigure's head, with some printing all around the outside. And that's capped off with this other transparent piece, this spherical thing that I've never seen before. So, in this kit, two unusual pieces that I'm most definitely happy to add to my collection. Making our way over to the top, first we can see the bridge here, pop the little roof off, and we have Nano Emmett and Nano Rex. Nothing else in here because the scale is so small there isn't room for anything. But behind them, pop open the rest of the roof, and we have a whole scene to explore. Starting over on the right, we have what looks to me like a little work zone. Just behind that, looks like a good little zone to socialize, where you have two couches facing each other. I'm not entirely sure what's up with this little table in the middle of the room, but just behind that, we have the skate park. 2 quarter pipes back to back, and a pair of roller skates up on the wall. And finally, the water cooler, because these raptors need their water cooler talk. All the way in the back of the ship, to make it a little easier to handle this big guy, they put a little handle right between the lower engines, which spread out, which is good, because in the movie they're facing straight back, which looks a little sleeker, but with my adult-sized hands, if I didn't spread these engines out, I wouldn't be able to fit it in here. The handle's pretty comfortable, easy to grip, and has a very solid feeling to the rest of the ship. As you can see here, I can move this thing around, no problem. But I gotta say that this ship is pretty heavy, so while my adult-sized hands can certainly hold this thing up, it's a little bit of a strain. I certainly couldn't see any children do it on their own. So for them, they're definitely gonna have to put their hand on the bottom to hold it steady. And obviously, right back here above the handle, we have the trigger for the 6-shooter. Top, front, and center of the ship, nestled between the 2 center knuckles, we find our 6 projectiles, already loaded into the magazine. And as a 6-shooter, it's a lot of fun to take out multiple targets without having to reload. But this fun is not perfect. The magazine actually has a really snug fit in here, so unfortunately it doesn't just fall under gravity on its own as you fire each projectile. So you have to place your hand on top to slowly push it down as you're firing, which, as I mentioned, this thing's a little heavy, so you kind of need a hand on the bottom also to support it. So for my adult-sized hands, I can manage, but I could definitely see some children having a little more difficulty here. And as this kit I think is mainly geared towards children, I think that's a little bit of an oversight. Another downside to the 6-shooter is it's not always easy to find them after you fired them. When I'm firing one of these at a time, it's easy to keep track of where each one goes. But after firing 6, it was a little bit harder, and to be honest, I didn't find all of them so easily. But fortunately, LEGO thought of this. So, just beneath the magazine, there's a little panel you can pop open, revealing 6 more projectiles ready to go. With the Rexcelsior now being covered, we come to the little support ships. In the top left, we have a little wheeled vehicle. Bottom left, Emmett's little house that he escaped Earth with. And on the right, we have 2 examples of some sports ships that came with the Rexcelsior, with the one in the top right corner being one that we actually have 2 of, only one pictured here. And that brings us to our minifigures, where we have Emmett and Nano Emmett, Rex and Nano Rex, plus the Raptors, which would normally be baby raptors, but for the scale of this kit, are full-size Velociraptors. For my concluding thoughts, I find I can't quite review this one the same as I have other LEGO kits. Do I find this to be an appealing display model? No, not really. But if I were 10-year-old, having this giant fist on my shelf would probably look pretty awesome. So, to them, this would probably be an amazing display piece. As a playset, I also find it to be a little bit mixed, because the rapid shooter doesn't really shoot rapidly. It's a little bit difficult to fire, so a little bit of a fail there. But for a kid, this giant fist on its own would probably be just enough fun just to run in our house with this pretending to punch things all the time. So, again, for me, not so much fun. For a kid, I think this would still be a lot of fun. But whether you're a junior collector or an AFOL, something that I think will be appealing to either side are the parts that come with this kit. And I don't just mean the number of elements. I mean, there's actually a good number of large pieces in here. In addition to these huge engine pieces, there's also a good number of large bricks and large plates throughout this whole kit. Something that you don't really find in a lot of LEGO kits these days. So, when it comes to taking this one apart and repurposing it, I find that this kit offers more potential than most. So in conclusion, I feel this kit's just about perfect for the young LEGO fan out there. For them, it should have a lot of display appeal, a lot of play appeal, and of course they're going to take it apart one day and it has a lot of rebuild appeal. And what more could you want out of LEGO?